Hey, welcome back to Reliable Sources. I'm Brian Stelter. For, 5 or 6 years, Donald Trump overpowered everything else in American politics. But there is now clearly a new narrative. Trump was back in New York City this week, but barely made a peep. He was interviewed on a channel so small, One American News, that it's not rated by Nielsen. And he is, as the Washington Post put it, sliding toward online irrelevance. That brings me to this new book about the 2020 campaign. It's called Battle for the Soul. It's about the Democrats who were trying to beat Trump. And I read it kind of expecting Trump to still be the star, more Biggest Loser than Apprentice, but still the star. But actually, the juice in the book is all about Biden. Edward Isaac Dovere is the author of the book. He's also a political journalist at The Atlantic. Edward, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me,
do you think you're part of a change in politics where Trump is a part of the story, but the whole world doesn't revolve around him anymore?
Well, when I set out to write this book, my intention was to track what was going on in the Democratic Party. I figured we had a lot of people, a lot of great journalists who were spending a lot of time on Trump, as they should have, as you should have, and all of our colleagues who were doing that. It was a very important presidency. But there is a whole story that happened in these 4 years for Democrats that had a lot of different twists and turns, a lot of things that weren't being paid attention to, and a lot of things that people just didn't know. And that is what I set out to do in this book. Trump shows up as a presence at points in the book. He's sort of the context for all of this, obviously, because they were all trying to get him out of the White House. But he is really not anywhere I would put him as D-level character in the book.
Right, but when you're writing about American politics, like, for example, when I was reading the book, you reminded me, Trump held a rally on the South Lawn to attack his political opponents from a balcony, like something out of a third world country. Like, when you remember that happened, it's hard for that not to overpower everything else, right? I mean, and then you've got, Biden, who Biden's gaffe of the week was he was out driving a new Ford electric truck and he made a joke about wanting to run over reporters. Everybody knew he was just kidding. Everybody knows it wasn't a big deal. That was considered a gaffe on Fox News. That was a big story compared to, the crap that Trump was pulling for years.
Yeah, and look, as I said, I'm glad that everybody was paying as much attention to it, but also there was this other thing that was happening, and I think we should think about, this is now the people who are in power, at least for the moment, are the Democrats in the White House, in the House, in the Senate. They didn't have as good a year in November as they were hoping to, but they are in power, and this is the story of how that happened. It starts on election night 2016 with Biden and Obama watching Trump win, and tracks all of that through the primaries, all the craziness into the general election, but looking at what was going on in this very difficult time for the Democratic Party.
Is it harder to cover Biden world than it was to cover Trump world? Is it harder to get inside and get information and get leaks?
It's harder to get people on the phone who will talk. But when they do talk, I think that you can rely on what they're saying more. They're not usually out to knife each other or to lie to reporters or to work some agenda or whatever it may be. That's what's going on whenever, even still, you talk to anybody around former President Trump. That's not what it is with Biden. But look, it's if you're looking for tabloid drama, the Biden White House is not the place to go. If you're looking for them to try to grapple with some of the things that have been going on in this country, then that is where to go. It's not. It's less the stuff of the New York Post, I guess I would say, than the Trump White House.
That's a great way to put it. This is a Washington Post presidency and not a New York Post presidency. That's maybe the distinction. Isaac, thanks so much. Best of luck with the book. The book is Battle for the Soul. Comes out Tuesday.
Thanks, Brian.
For the latest on all the day's media news, sign up for our nightly Reliable Sources newsletter at reliablesources.com. And after the break, an eye-popping decision by the mayor of Chicago. We're going live to the city next.
The light. It comes from within. It drives.